I want to tell you a story about Colonel Margarethe Cammermeyer. In July of 1991, a board convened to decide the fate of this career officer. She was a Vietnam veteran, Bronze Star recipient. She'd served at every level from PFC all the way up to full-bird colonel. And she was being looked at for general. And despite her exemplary record, despite everything she'd done for the Army, for the country, during her reinvestigation for her clearance, they asked her if she was a homosexual. And having the integrity that comes along with a lifetime of Army service, she said yes. And a few months later, she was discharged from the Army, being found in violation of what was then the new Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. Despite all this, she kept her integrity about her, she kept her values, she kept her professionalism, and 3 years later, she was able to be reinstated in the Army, and she continued her career. She was able to continue serving till '96 when she got out on her own terms. I tell you that story because in May of 2014, I found myself standing in front of a similar board. Doctors and members of my chain of command had come together to decide the fate of my career because I had just disclosed the fact that I was transgender. Unlike Colonel Cammermeyer's chain of command, my command at the time was allowed their prerogative to choose my fate. They weren't subject to as strict a policy as Colonel Cammermeyer's chain was back in the early 90s. And the commander decided that what was better for the Army was that I be retained. Once the policies restricting transgender service were fully lifted in 2016, I was able to transition, come together with my peers, with my community to build one another up and make ourselves better soldiers, better members of the Army, better leaders. And then again, I found myself facing down the barrel of a discharge when the President gave guidance that transgender personnel would not be allowed to serve in any capacity in the U.S. Army or in the military in general. And again, I thought about Colonel Cammermeyer and her example. And so after that came out and after the policy was put forward, I joined a lawsuit in court challenging the implementation of this ban, questioning whether it was in fact a lawful order. And while it didn't prevent a form of the ban from going into effect, it did have the effect of bringing it to public attention, making it part of the public discourse, and also preventing those of us who were serving from being discharged while the ban was fought. And I'm still here. We're all still here.